Welcome to the School of Media and Communication podcast. As you all know, our theme for this semester is Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, past, present and future. The topic for today is how patriotism is shown in Indian cinema. To introduce today's topic, as we all know, cinema plays an important role in our country. The freedom of expression that comes with the independence and old theme resurfaced with the new interpretations and controversies. In the past 75 years, the Indian cinema industry has made a good volume of films showing the country's freedom struggle and patriotism. In India, movies are also made on burning social issues and border disputes with neighbors post-independence. I would like to introduce the presenters for today's podcast, Nupur, Mehtani, Bhoomi, Kotwani and Parnim, Vaidya. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi. So to start off with the discussion, I'd like to start off with a very basic question. Tell me your opinion about the recent upsurge of the patriotic movies in India.
Yeah, so personally, I think, as you already mentioned while beginning this session, that cinema does play a very important role, and I think it's extremely influential in the society. The craze for the cinema in the society is huge. It drives multiple emotions, it sways people, and I think this impact has just been growing. The recent patriotic movies, like recently, the last movie that I saw was Major. So it was a patriotic movie, a huge hit. Major was a major hit, so it was amazing.
That's true.
The way that cinema portrays the incidents that has been happening and every scene, it gave me goosebumps literally when I was watching the thing go by. The unsung heroes, presenting it through cinema, Sandeep Unnikrishnan, the way they presented it, directed the movie, the acting, everything was so dynamic. It just makes you feel even more close to your nation, and generates this national feeling, togetherness.
True.
So I really think there has been an upsurge and it has turned out to be very good.
Very well said, Bhoomi. What do you think, Nupur?
Even I agree with Bhoomi that cinema does play a very important role. It kind of brings a feeling of belongingness and a feeling of attachment to your nation. And I totally agree with Bhoomi the way she's told that cinema plays a really important role in bringing up the patriotic feeling, because even the last movies which I watched, like Uri or Shesha, they definitely got connected, and as an audience it brought a feeling of belongingness and being a more movie watcher, knowing your history through your movies is kind of something I would prefer rather than just indulging in my book studies or curriculum and just revising and repeating and mugging up my history. So kind of it definitely is an upsurge.
So as Nupur just mentioned about the history textbooks and the stories that we hear, so I think one of the examples was the movie Kesari. A big hit again. It is a patriotic movie and it was amazing to watch. Again, wasn't mentioned in our history textbooks. I've never read about it. Battle of Saragadi. I got to know it through cinema. So I think just with the feeling of patriotism, information, being a media student, like the things we get to know through cinema. So I think just visualizing, also seeing the audio, and you just hear about it. It's not that effective on your minds, but when you look at the movie, you look at how you picture it in front of you, and then you learn about it. It's just a whole another feeling, like just getting that information and plus having the exact feeling while you're in the theaters watching the thing happen.
Correct.
So I think Kesari was an amazing example.
Yes. Moving on to Parnim, what do you feel?
Of course, when we think about the upsurge of patriotic movies we have seen in the recent times, I can't help but wonder कि कैसे जो हमारी patriotic movies हो गई, जितना भी Indian cinema जब patriotism दिखाता है वो, and the real life achievements of Bharat, how both of them go hand in hand. हम देखते हैं कि अगर कहीं ओलंपिक्स में कोई एक मेडल आता है, उस वैल्यू के बाद अगर कोई पेट्रियोटिक फिल्म आती है, उसे उतनी ही ज्यादा पॉपुलैरिटी मिलती है.
That's very true.
अगर कोई एक पेट्रियोटिक मूवी आती है, उसके बाद अगर कोई अचीवमेंट करे भारत, कोई छोटी भी अचीवमेंट हो, वो लोगों को इस तरह पता चलती है. इट्स लाइक अ वाइल्ड फायर विच स्प्रेड्स थ्रू इंडिया, विच स्प्रेड्स थ्रू भारत विद इट्स ओन फ्लेयर.
That's true.
Yes, absolutely.
And जैसे अभी परनिम ने अचीवमेंट्स ऑफ इंडिया के बारे में बात किया, तो आई फील इवेंट्स या फिर जो अनसंग हीरोज होते हैं उनके बारे में भी हमें मूवीज के थ्रू ही पता चलता है. इनफैक्ट वो अपकमिंग जनरेशन के लिए भी एक एग्जाम्पल सेट होता है कि दे गेट टू नो मोर अबाउट द हिस्ट्री एंड दे गेट टू नो व्हाट actually had happened and they get to visualize that thing.
That's true. Nupur, जैसे तुमने अभी generations की बात की, India has had a long history of movies और India is well known for making good biopics. तो जैसे हम लोग evolution की बात अगर करें कि आप लोग क्या कमेंट करना चाहोगे about the evolution of Indian patriotic cinema? How does it help to shape the perspective of the citizens? Go Parnim.
ऑफ कोर्स जैसा कि पहले जैसी मूवीज आती थी, मदर इंडिया या फिर कई और ऐसी मूवीज है, इंडिया गेट, चाइना गेट, सॉरी, तो इन सारी मूवीज से हमें पता चलता था कि जो पेट्रियोटिज्म का पॉइंट था कि जिसमें इमोशंस पे ज्यादा ध्यान दिया जाता था. बट इफ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द इवोल्यूशन ऑफ सिनेमा, वी हैव टू काउंटर इन द फैक्टर्स कि ऑडियंस को कैप्चर करना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट नाउ वी सी कि जैसे पहले मदर इंडिया जैसी मूवीज आती थी, अब जो मूवीज हमें कैप्टिवेट करती है पेट्रियोटिक फिल्म्स, दैट आर उरी, विच हैज मोर एक्शन. उरी हो गई, शेर शाह हो गई. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई थिंक अबाउट द एवोल्यूशन कि हाउ देयर वाज दिस थिंग कि पहले सिटीजन के पेट्रियोटिज्म से नाउ वी आर मूविंग मोर टुवर्ड्स अ सोल्जर्स पेट्रियोटिज्म, व्हाट अ पेट्रियोटिज्म फील्स एज अ वॉरियर.
Okay.
एंड आई फील पेट्रियोटिज्म को एक बहुत बड़ा स्पेक्ट्रम है. तो सोल्जर बेस्ड मूवी ऑल्दो अभी बहुत ज्यादा चलती है, बट आई थिंक इंडियन सिनेमा को ज्यादा ध्यान एज अ सिटीजन बेस पे भी देना चाहिए. जैसे मिशन मंगल हो गया या फिर
That's
83 हो गई, तो ऐसी मूवीज भी आनी चाहिए और ज्यादा, ऐसा आई फील, बिकॉज काइंड ऑफ ऑडियंस कैन रिलेट टू इट मोर. बिकॉज पहले क्या होता था ना कि वो करंट सिचुएशन पे बताते थे, एंड अभी इट्स ओनली अबाउट unsung heroes या फिर forgotten heroes या फिर only army based. So I think patriotism through a field of science, fiction और sports के through भी अभी बताया जा सकता है, ऐसा I feel.
Yeah, so as she mentioned sports, I think movies like Bhag Milkha Bhag, Gold, Dangal, all these movies, I've read articles about them when we've actually won gold or Olympics में जो भी medals आए. It's fascinating to read articles and then you're like, okay, India won, yeah. But when we watch these movies, there's a sense of pride that I belong to this country.
Correct.
So that speaks a lot. Like when you're actually seeing it happen in front of you, it's just the sentiment of, you know, valuing your nation. Parnim already mentioned about the achievements, like how it goes hand in hand, and I completely agree with it, because when you see these movies, it actually makes you feel so good to be a part of this. Like, okay,
Correct.
one of us has won it, something. So I think that sense of just being together and unity, that's a very good thing that India cinema portrays. And also the movie Chak De India, so it's a fictional movie, did not happen, but again it was filmed so beautifully.
That's true.
That
Yeah,
it just brings out that sentiment. Chak De India, the name itself is so patriotic that you cannot not have a feeling of belongingness or nationalistic feeling.
That's
around it.
very true. Since Bhoomi expressed so much about, you know, how you feel while watching all these patriotic movies, कैसा experience रहता है. So this leads to the last question of our podcast. कि tell me one of your experience of watching any patriotic Indian movie in the theatre, and also tell me about how much of the role is played by the music that is given to the movie.
My experience has to be, I love Akshay Kumar. He's one of my favorite heroes. So he has done a lot of patriotic
That's
movies.
true,
Holiday,
yeah.
A Soldier is Never Duty. I cannot talk about Indian cinema and patriotism when I don't mention this movie, because it's one of my all-time favorites. Not just patriotism, related to patriotism, but overall it has been an amazing watch. I've watched it so many times and I don't get bored of it.
That's
It's
very
just-
true, yeah.
I love it. And also the movie Baby, again starring Akshay Kumar. I think soldiers, I've always had a soft spot for them, because I cannot imagine myself doing something. I love my nation, but I'm not going on the border risking my life for it.
Okay.
Right? It's just seeing them in a uniform protecting a piece of land and the citizens is just an amazing feeling, and it is showed so beautifully. The dialogues itself, I think it has a huge impact. So I still don't forget the dialogues. The Baby, there was a dialogue in Baby where he said, religion wale column mein hum bold and capital mein Indian likhte
Indian
hain.
likhte hai, that's right.
That has a ring to it. Now
Yeah.
when that's something that you'll never forget. So that is the impact that it holds on us. That is the impact that cinema has. Yahi line hum normally bol de, but the essence that it brings, the feeling that it brings to us, I think that Holiday, A Soldier is Never Duty mein one of the dialogues was, जान देने का ठेका सिर्फ सोल्जर्स ने ले रखा है. जब हजारों को मारने वाले टेररिस्ट इतनी सोच लेके आ सकते हैं, तो हम सिटीजन्स कुर्बानी क्यों नहीं दे सकते?
That's
So
very
it's just, you know, I don't want to risk my life, but just listening to that dialogues would make me feel like I'm ready, you know, bring it on. So it's just a that's personally my experience, and I was very moved by these two movies personally.
Good job with the
As-
dialogues, Bhoomi, I must say. What's your take, Nupur?
As Bhoomi talked about soldiers and risking their lives and stuff. So coming from an army background, after watching Uri, even I felt the same thing कि I was very happy. उन लोगों को पता चल रहा है कि क्या होता है बैटल ग्राउंड में, लोगों को पता चल रहा है कि सोल्जर्स के ऊपर क्या बीतती है.
Yeah, the side
तो
of the coin,
एग्जैक्टली तो मैं बहुत ज्यादा खुश हुई थी कि ऐसा मूवीज और आ रही हैं. एंड इवन जो सॉन्ग्स की बात हुई, एवरी सिंगल वर्ड मेड भी जो पेट्रियोटिक सॉन्ग्स में होते हैं वो कैसे भी लिरिकली मैच किए जाते हैं या राइम से मैच किए जाते हैं, बट एवरी सिंगल वर्ड हैज अ स्टोरी एंड इट जस्टिफाइज एवरी फीलिंग दैट आर्मी पर्सन गोज थ्रू, और इवन पर्सन who loves their nation can relate to it. So I feel that songs definitely play a very important role in
role, yeah.
patriotic movies.
What's your
जैसा
take?
कि अभी इन्होंने बताया, ऑफ कोर्स अक्षय कुमार की ही बात, लेकिन अगर मैं अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस बोलूँ, जाहिर सी बात है मेरी भी एक मूवी जो है वो उसका पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस, दैट इज ऑल्सो स्टारिंग अक्षय कुमार. On this movie answers both of your questions, the one about my personal experience as well as the music. That is Kesari.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Kesari में patriotism, the dialogues Akshay Kumar has, the dialogues all the 22 soldiers have. It is a great thing. It is a great deal. And along with that, just dialogues अगर वहाँ पे बिना म्यूजिक के होते तो जाहिर सी बात है किसी को उतनी फीलिंग नहीं आती, भले ही वो कितनी एनर्जेटिक क्यों ना हो. Looking at from a technical perspective, there is this thing कि म्यूजिक जो है ना वो सीधा कनेक्ट होता है. इट्स लाइक अगर मैं कोई देख रहा हूँ, मैं पहले डायलॉग नहीं सुनूंगा, मेरा भले ही डायलॉग मैं डायलॉग भले ही कान से सुन रहा हूँ, पर मेरा ध्यान म्यूजिक पे. जो फीलिंग आती है दिल से कि अगर मैं कुछ इमोशनल हो रहा हूँ, मैं कुछ भी हो रहा हूँ, वो डायलॉग से नहीं आता. डायलॉग बस तुम्हें समझ आता है, फीलिंग आती है म्यूजिक से.
I feel that's very true because in India there are lots of languages that are spoken. और कितने लोग हैं जिनको समझ भी नहीं आता कि क्या lyrics है, but the music part of
Music keeps
it
them hooked
hits.
on.
हाँ.
Music has no language.
Exactly. So उतना सबको ही relate कर पाते हैं, ऐसा music patriotic movies में डाला जाता है. I feel you all three answered it very nicely. I'm very happy with whatever response, and especially how Bhoomi delivered all the dialogues. It was crazy. Guys, I had a great time talking to you all. It was a very meaningful discussion, I must say.
So did we had a great time.
Thank
Iqra.
you for
Thank
being
so
on the
much.
podcast.
Thank you for
though.
having us.
Yeah.
So, to conclude this podcast, the society has changed, and with that, the interpretation of patriotism has also shifted much, like our film, which has always played a key role in defining and designing the feeling of nationality in people's mind and continues to do so. The meaning of nationality keeps on changing, but the idea of nation remains the same for everyone.
Yes. Jai Hind,
Hind,
Jai
Jai
Bharat.
ऐसे हैं चाहे वैसे हैं, अरे